going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater.
And Shelby.
And today we're going to be talking about the difference between Caridina Mariae and Caridina serrata. What's the difference? What's some of the similarities? They're both tiger shrimp. So let's dive into that. Remember, let's keep chat and questions kind of related to the topic unless it's an emergency. But for those that are watching on tonight's topic, I'll try and keep it to the point for the first hour and keep it all informational. So let's start it off with the original tiger shrimp that everybody really first one that comes to mind is going to be Caridina Mariae. For us, one of the very first tiger shrimp that we ever saw, and the one that really got us into the hobby, is the orange-eye blue tiger shrimp. Now this variety is Caridina Mariae, and it has quite a few different color grades to it. That's a good way of referencing it. So basically you have blondes, which is an orange-eye blue tiger with almost no color. It'll still have some blue tiger stripes and maybe a slight hint of blue, but for the most part it is translucent on the body. And then you have orange-eye blue tigers, which are blue tigers with blue tiger stripes and orange eyes. And then you have a higher grade from that, which would be a royal blue tiger. And that's pretty much going to have no more tiger stripes. Those are basically going to fade out. And you're going to end up with a solid blue tiger shrimp with orange eyes. And then from that, you can get an even higher grade to black tiger orange eye, or basically the blue pigment has gotten to such a high grade, the pigments have overlapped as it matures, and you basically can't tell it's even blue anymore, and it looks black. And basically, if you don't have something that's like vibrant blue, chances are it's a black tiger orange eye. I don't really refer to most of the royal blue tigers out there as being royals. They're more like orange eye black tigers, unless it's like super vibrant blue. To me, those are royals, but in my same opinion, they are a lesser grade shrimp, similar to the Taiwan bees. As you can see, the jellies, the blue jellies and the green hulks, as they're younger, they might be bluer or greener in pigment, and then as they age and mature, it turns out to be black. So it's kind of like the same exact thing going on with the blue tiger shrimp. But if you know that vibrant deep royal blue color is what you're going for, then yeah, you can definitely have higher grade and very nice royals that will par and hold up to the black tigers in price and stuff like that. Anything yet?
Nope.
No? All right. Then you also have the super tigers. It's basically similar to an orange eye blue tiger, but it doesn't have the orange eyes. It has normal eyes where the pupils are black. And then it's, for the most part, got purplish, mostly blue, not a lot of purple to it. But then a faint yellow face, little pigmentation color, where it would be like translucent on a blonde royal blue tiger, or not royal blue tiger, blonde orange eye blue tiger. It would have yellow coloration to it. You want to be careful with these super tigers. You want to make sure that they don't throw any orange eyes. If they do, there's a high chance that they were crossbred with the orange eye blue tigers. You'll also tell with the super tigers, they have a very distinct tiger stripe pattern on the body. And then when you cross them with the orange eye blue tigers, the tiger stripes really don't know how to match up, and they kind of don't look the same. So definitely want to be careful when sourcing out your super tigers. At one point, they were breeding like mad for us, and then I oversold them, and they really slowed down on breeding. So I'm in the process right now of ramping up their breeding efforts. I got them going in one tank, and just when you think they're going in another tank, they stopped and slowed down again. So definitely want to continue my super tiger projects. They're a nice fun shrimp, even though they don't have the orange eyes. But basically all the genetics that are in a super tiger you can get out of an orange eye blue tiger, except for maybe that like faint yellow pigmentation on the nose. But Then you also have red tigers. Now, red tigers have also been crossed with orange-eyed blue tigers. I've seen red tigers with some white little stripes to them that are very pure red tigers. The red stripes are very faint. It's not like the ones that you would see from crossing with a red crystal shrimp or anything like that. It's more like the red tiger stripe itself has like a white shadow behind it. And then we also have some of the red tigers that actually do have a blue pigmentation to the body. It's very faint. You see it a lot more when the shrimp are being shipped out and they're really super stressed. However, even the orange eye, or not the orange eyes, the ones with the white pigmentation, when they were stressed, they had a little bit of blue color to them. It just didn't show up as much as the red tigers with the blue bodies that we have. And then when crossing those with the orange-eyed blue tigers, you can get a couple different variations of orange-eyed red tigers. You've got the orange-eyed red tigers normals. You got the orange-eyed red tiger blue body, and then you could also get orange-eyed red tigers with. The orange-eyed blue tigers with like a rusty red pigmentation over the blue tiger stripes. Uh, so that is, of course, crossing two different tigers of the Caridina Mariae together. And then the final one is the normal tiger. This is a wild type tiger, but you could also produce these by crossing orange-eyed blue tigers with red tiger. You just want to make sure that after a few generations, that orange eye recessive gene doesn't really pop up too much. They're still technically normal tigers, but once you get that orange-eyed gene to pop back around, then you're going to get orange-eyed blue tigers and orange-eyed red tigers and stuff like that. So to keep the normal tigers, you definitely got to make sure all the males are going to have normal eyes in that tank.
The only question we have is from Mimic. Says, I hear y'all talk a lot about overselling and trying to recoup. What population density do you try to maintain to prevent that?
So it's really hard to judge how many shrimp are in the aquarium. I know you can feed them and you can bring out everything, and you always hope you've got extras in the aquarium. And then we make a sale or something like that on the website, and then it's for somebody special, and we've got to throw in extras or something like that. And you just get people that are at the clubs and they've been waiting. So it's like, all right, I can give some to you. And then you're hoping that, all right, the colony has been split into two, and you've got more people working on it, and it's the better for the individual species itself staying in the hobby, higher chances. And now we basically have it set up to where we get 3 tanks of everything breeding, so we don't have to worry about that. Otherwise, I would like to keep 50 breeders in an aquarium and then sell off of that. You just got to think about your breeders being over age and keeping some of the best generation behind it to pick up the slack when those ones pass off. So, in a perfect world, I would have maybe 5 males in the tank and 45 females. Maybe 20 of those females be quite old, mature adults, and then 20 of them, one of the newer generations of females growing up that are, higher quality and stuff like that. So having a good rotation to increase the genetics and stuff like that's very important. But with super tigers, I really didn't need that. And it's just winter conditions and stuff like that. They stopped breeding, and I probably sold off 1 or 2 of my females, and I didn't have some younger ones to step up to the plate. All right. So all the tigers that I talked about so far are Caridina Mariae. Off the top of my head and thinking about it all day, those were the only Caridina Mariae tiger shrimp that I've come up with. I'm not sure if the old, and I'm sure they would in order to be part of the fancy tiger lineage, the OG lineage, anyways. The princess, the dark princes. Oh man, I can't even remember what they are anymore. If those were Caridina Mariae, or if there's a wild type black tiger shrimp out there that doesn't have the orange eyes. I'm also not fully aware of if the orange-eyed tiger shrimp are a genetic mutation of normal tigers or if they're a wild type. I can tell you, though, that I do not think that orange-eyed shrimp are blind. And basically, my reasoning for that is, yeah, I understand you can dip a net in the tank and then they can sense it with their whiskers and whatnot and be scared and kind of dip off into the moss and get away. However, when we try to take photos of the shrimp outside of the tank without hitting the glass or anything like that, these shrimp are constantly like trying to pose up to make sure like that we're not trying to go after them or something like that. And because of that, I'm going to say that they're not blind. If they can feel me on the outside of the tank, that's some superhuman shrimp stuff that I just can't believe is possible, right? So all of those would be Caridina.
You forgot to mention with the lights off, because shadows could also be a thing. Because a lot of blind dogs, like with cataracts or something, that's kind of the sense of orange eyes is having like a cataracts.
Yeah. If anything, the lights are on inside the tanks, but not behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no shadow.
I thought you were going to name a Caridina Mariae, and I was like, oh, you had one?
Oh, goodness gracious. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have a little notebook right here,
So now the next group of shrimp are all going to be Caridina serrata. Caridina serrata is going to consist of tangerine tigers, aurora blue tigers. Aurora blue tigers also throw off a aurora red tiger. And then also a newer variety of shrimp. And I'll get into why I think this is a serrata. I haven't really read from any. Maybe I have with Alex going over these. We found from somebody else that they call them serrata. But I got a few reasons why I definitely believe they're a wild type serrata shrimp. They're new into the hobby, not a lot of information on them. I waited for them to be bred out by a breeder here in the United States before I even got my hands on them. But still, in the last 5 years, they're like one of the only new types of wild type shrimp to come out. And then by crossing the Aurora blue tiger shrimp with the tangerine tiger shrimp, we're able to create the green apple tiger shrimp. That strain is very finicky. The green is moody. 1 week, the shrimp will be really nice, not like super green, but a nice hint, a good shade of green, as I would say. And then the following week, it's a bright, vibrant orange. And then another week, it'll be somewhere in between. And for that reason, we don't sell any green tigers on the website. If you buy the green tiger culls off of us, I do my best to pick some that are, a little bit in between. So maybe when they make it to you, some will be green, but then, the other side of the coin, they could be orange on you. But I just don't feel like that strain really does any better with the more work you do on it because they're so finicky. For the most part, the nicest green apples that I ever had were from taking the highest Aurora tigers that I ever had before Layla threw the quesadilla in the tank.
Never live that down.
All right, so those tigers crossed with our tangerine tigers, which our tangerine tigers are already like the most significant grade that you could possibly get them. And they produced on F1, the first generation, a decent amount of really nice greens that stayed green longer than any other green apple shrimp that I've ever had. But since those Aurora Blues are no more, I haven't been able to recreate those. And after the first generation of those greens, the Tangerine Tiger pigmentation just kind of came back out stronger. I would like to try and crossbreed them back with some Aurora Blue Tigers to get that green back. Maybe get away from the Tangerine Tiger. But every time I do, like it just never the Auroras just don't want to breed with like the mutts. I don't know. I don't have much luck with crossbreeding. We did it one time and I didn't get the outcome that I wanted because the Aurora Blue Tiger was not a high enough grade, I don't think.
Crip said, you never said the name of the serrata wild that's newest to the hobby. He said he rewound it and everything to check.
The cheetah? What's the new one? I'm sorry.
You said something about it and then didn't say which one it was.
The cheetah. I swear that was it. I don't know. I'm confused, but I the new one to the hobby. I would come back to that. All right. I guess I did not say the cheetah. I'm not sure. No. I said I would come back to that, and the reason why I think it is, or I don't know. It's the cheetah, Tim. Now you got me all confused.
Scotty said, Shelby, are all tigers as easy as tangerine tigers, as in can be in neo parameters, or is it just the tangs? So a lot of the other tigers can be in neo parameters. I wouldn't suggest it. They'll survive, and sometimes actually we had some blue tigers in a neo parameters, and they actually colored up quite cool because they had more of like a rusty color to them because of I think it's the minerals in the water. But they did not breed fast, and it's just you get impatient, so it's just much better to put them in RO water remixed with remineralizer. The tangerine tigers are the easiest. I'd say that you could probably do raccoon tigers and neos, and they would breed fast too.
Stardust.
And Stardust, but I wouldn't do any of
Cheetahs.
like the. I guess the difference there, you could
Green
probably
tigers.
say it'd be more of the Caridina Mariae would be more of specific to Caridina parameters, and then serrata would be more for. I'm sorry if that was a point you were making later.
No. It's perfectly fine. He asked you, so I'm gonna bite my tongue. But I will say that if you were to ask Eric from Biped Shrimp, he would say that he is able to breed the orange-eye blue tigers in Neocaridina parameters a lot easier and has a lot more success. And I've gone back to trying his method out and stuff like that, and I just in a 10-gallon aquarium, I get better breeding in Caridina parameters than I do in the 55-gallon with Neocaridina parameters. So, yeah, I would agree with what Shelby said.
I mean, I just want to test his water. I'll take like his water home and then test it to see what his is got in it that differs from our water to where it just doesn't breed well. Like they must be
uses
thriving
RO
off
water
of something.
And minerals though. I don't think
Yeah,
he uses
so
tab,
like he uses the neo minerals, which to me would be fine, but there's something else probably in our tap water that's making them not want to breed. Two Dogs said, bro, what happened with the beard? That's a very important question. It was just for his talk. He always shaves up and cleans up nicely. You know, he's got to be presentable. And so only Oscar said, when culling, should I try to match the color showing or just add to a Skittles tank? Wait, what?
Yeah, I need a better question than this. I don't know how to answer this correctly. When culling, you should remove all the ugly ones, and then what to do with them? You could add them into a cull tank to maybe work on color, or you could just add them to a Skittles tank. That's a good option too.
Oh, we said it probably 20 more times after he made this comment. Said stop saying minerals. I'm getting PTSD from yesterday. That's good. Okay. Sorry. Crip did say, Grant, right after you started talking about Aurora Blues, you went off on a mini tangent about a new wild serrata you got after waiting for another breeder to breed them only 5 years in the hobby.
Oh, so it was cheetahs. Oh. It was on my list, and I believe I saved them for last. But the cheetahs are what I consider a serrata, and the reason for that is because they have the back line, they have similar tiger stripes and dots on the head. And when doing some of my hybridization crossbreeding projects, I get very similar results to the green tigers and the tangerine tigers that we're breeding out. They're super resilient, and they would do just as well like the other serratas in tap water at our house. But I'm not going to recommend it for everyone's tap water. But they would do all right in a Neocaridina tank where you are mixing the GHKH only minerals. They haven't been in the hobby that long. But they are super easy to cross, and because of that, I think they're a serrata. So my bad, Crypt Keeper. Went on a tangent for no reason, I guess.
Lady Diane said he was beautiful for the Massey talk, and it was amazing. Hope you all watched.
Yeah, I was worried it was going to be cold, so I kept the beard for the zoo, and then between the zoo and going to the dinner for the meeting, I shaved it all off. All right, so now let's dive into the two different types of shrimp. Basically, I went over the serrata, having the back line, very hardy, can adapt. They crossbreed. Whatever you throw into these genetics, um, they're gonna carry on that dominant trait of having a little bit of orange coloration to them. That back line is also a dominant trait, and then on top of that, they're a little bit more resilient, a little bit more hardy, and overall, I would say that these guys have a lot more variations of possibilities when crossbreedings of different outcomes and stuff like that. Where the Caridina Mariae, they have the orange-eyed tiger trait to them, and besides that, they have very similar body tiger stripes that can be crossbred and stuff like that to the Caridina serrata. And then they don't have as much dots on the head and stuff like that, and that's definitely going to be a factor when crossbreeding. But they have the blue colorations, the blue tiger stripes, and for the most part, a lot of the crossbreeding projects that were in the very beginning of the process were using the Caridina Mariae. So a lot of the original pintos are made with Caridina Mariae, the original Tybes, and like the original fancy tiger strains all wore just the original Caridina Mariae only varieties. So now let's dive into that a little bit more. You can take some of the orange-eyed blue tigers or any of the Caridina Mariae and cross it with some crystal shrimp. Now, first generation, you're not going to get anything nice. The first generations are going to be low-grade Tybes, very minute amount of striping. You won't get any orange eyes off of this first cross. So if you're trying to make something with orange eyes going down the line, I highly recommend crossbreeding with the orange-eyed blue tigers. But none of the fancy tigers or the pintos that were originally out there even have the orange eyes to them. And almost all of the new varieties of the orange-eyed, like Nanashi and stuff like that are out there, they most certainly have the serrata gene and pigmentation in them, so they're not even pure Caridina Mariae. I think once they got the Caridina Mariae orange eyes onto the Yellow King Kongs, they used those to crossbreed with all the varieties because of how more robust and prolific the Yellow King Kongs are over the orange-eyed blue tigers. So it's just a lot easier to get your end result and stuff like that. But if you wanted to make true orange-eyed red tigers, fancy red tigers, orange-eyed fancy black tigers, and orange-eyed German pintos, you could definitely cross back breed and stuff like that. It's just going to take several generations. I don't know if there's anybody out there that is working on that, or if they've all given up. I'm probably still young enough that eventually one day I'll make it a mission and try to breed those from scratch. But if anybody wanted to know how to do it, you would simply use any pure Taiwan bees and crossbreeding them with orange-eyed blue tigers, crossbreed back to get the double pigment of the Tai bee, the Taiwan bee, as well as the recessive gene for the orange eye. And then from there, it's just selective breeding out patterns. Getting both of those recessive genes is going to take several generations, let alone just getting one is going to take at least 3 generations of work. So you're definitely going to have to stick to that one. But I think the end result would be quite rewarding. And obviously, to make the German pintos from scratch, you would just have to cross any of the Caridina Maria tigers with the pure Taiwan bees. And after you got the recessive gene of the Taiwan bees and then the double shadow pigment, you can just selectively breed that out for the patterns of the German spothead pintos, the zebra pintos, and um, the German belly pintos. Technically speaking, in order for it to be a pinto, it should have some dots on the head, just like the horses. That's where the pinto name comes from. The pinto horses have a ton of little dots on them. They're Shelby's favorite, right?
No, those are different horses.
Oh, sorry. Anyways,
Mine are polka dot, but different.
They're not pintos. Okay, all right. So you're really going to get a maximum of about 9 dots on the head, 4 on each side, 1 on the top. It's going to be very similar to the fancy tigers as well, but with those combinations, those shrimp and stuff like that, especially the blue varieties of the spotted German pintos, you still can make a $25 shrimp off of a 10 and $6 shrimp if you use like a panda and a cheap orange-eyed blue tiger, or even $4 shrimp if you use super tigers or a normal tiger. Did you have something for me?
Mm-hmm. Mimic said, what traits do Tang ties bring to new crosses? As in, what traits are you hoping to introduce by crossing them into a breeding line?
So everything you're going to get out of Tang ties, you're going to get out of the serrata. Let me just backtrack real quick over the Caridina Mariae to make sure I got everything. So I went over German pintos. The only other thing you're really going to make with the Caridina Mariae, that's old school, is going to be the fancy tigers. Now, originally the fancy tigers were Caridina Mariae tiger crossed with crystal shrimp. And then from there, it's just selective breeding, the nicest ones with the most pigmentation, the most dots on the head, and of course, those beautiful tiger stripings on the body. And then as long as you had full coverage, that was going from a Tybee to the higher grade of a Tybee. It's still a Tybee, but then you get over into the fancy tigers. That to me is what a true fancy tiger is. We've talked about this briefly before in past streams on what Taiwan considers a fancy tiger, the rest of the world considers a fancy tiger, and so on. But originally, it was supposed to be just Caridina Mariae and the crystal shrimp to make the fancy tigers. But then shortcuts were taken, and you can cross the Taiwan bees, you can cross tangerine tigers. The Taiwan bees would be for the thicker shell. The tangerine tigers would be to add on nicer tiger stripes, but to also increase the genetics for faster breeding. So to answer your question, Mimic, would be the Tang ties could be thrown in to increase for faster breeding. They're a little bit more hardy, can take a little wider range of parameters. But then they also carry more dots on the head and body as well. And then on top of that, they have the back line. So when I talk about German pintos and you have the zebra pintos, well, you could also have a zebra Tai bee that doesn't have any dots on the head. So if you buy a zebra pinto and it doesn't have dots on the head, you didn't really get a pinto, right? But without the serrata gene, you cannot have fish bones. So you take a pinto shrimp and then you get the serrata gene that has the back line, and then that's how you can get the fish bone, because all of the fish bone really are the zebra stripes with a back line thrown on top of it. And you can get the skunks, the capes, and stuff like that when the lines from the back line and the tiger stripes of the pinto, the zebra stripes, start to kind of blend and morph together and stuff like that. And then also, a lot of the Tang ties produce a lot of the different colorations. A lot more purples and greens come out of my Tang tie than any other colorations from the Caridina Mariae. And then like the snowflakes, the galaxy pintos, the boas, these are all the new era pintos that are out there, and these all have these serrata genes. So you can't get a Galaxy fishbone with more than 9 dots and the actual backline to make the fishbone if you don't have the serrata gene. All you really need to make Galaxy pintos or boas is some tangerine tigers or any of the serrata tigers with some Taiwan bee genetics. You will need to cross back with some Taiwan bees to get that double pigmentation, but from there, selective breeding, you can make blue steels. You can actually get blue steels out of Caridina Mariae crosses as well, but they tend to they almost all look like blue bolts because they don't have the speckles on the faces. They won't produce the crazy blues and stuff like that, but they are basically a hybridized blue bolt. Therefore, they are a blue steel. Where the serrata blue steels, you can get the crazy blues, you can get the ocean blues, you can get all the different kinds of greens, and eventually even yellow King Kongs are a serrata gene as well. So you can get those out of tang ties.
Brandon said, I think I crossed dragon's blood and blue steel. I've got pinto looking shrimp. Could this be from that cross? I initially had the hybrid cheetahs with blue steel and moved over the cheetahs later.
So nobody really knows what are in the dragon blood genetics. I'm not sure if Mr. Shrimp Pimpin himself is on here tonight, but Ruben has also crossed, I think it's Blue Dragon's blood with Crazy Blues, which are basically the same as Blue Steels. And he got some backline tie bees and some very faint, pinto, not exactly, nice high grade pintos, but something that could be turned into something later on with some work in selective breeding. Sorry. But that leads me to believe that the dragon's blood are like a tie bee that genetically mutated and lost their coloration.
They're asked, is 5.1 to 5.3 pH too low for Caridinas, assuming it remains stable at one of those numbers?
Yeah, that's absolutely perfectly fine for Caridina shrimp. So, no, I'm sorry. The answer is no. It's not too low. All right. So, I basically talked about all of the basically crosses that are out there and quite common and stuff like that that you can make with only one tiger or the other. But there are crosses out there where you use multiple different types of shrimp to end up with the end game. One of those is going to be the orange-eyed yellow King Kongs. We already talked about those before. But you basically have the serrata in the yellow King Kong gene. I believe that the yellow King Kongs were created from crossbreeding Taiwan bees and tangerine tigers. And then, 8 generations later, we got a yellow one from doing that cross. We selected bred that yellow one, and we're getting shrimp that are breeding pure yellow, just like yellow King Kongs. And you really can't tell the difference between them. However, the person that originally created the yellow King Kongs is no longer with us, so we'll never really know if that's legit the actual way, or if they were selected bred from tangerine tigers. But either way, one of the things that everybody knows is they are Caridina serrata, because of that, the orange-eyed yellow King Kongs have both the serrata gene and the orange-eyed gene from the Caridina Mariae. And then basically you can use the orange-eyed yellow King Kongs to make the orange-eyed Nanashi, the orange-eyed advanced. You can make Nanashi and the Galaxy the Galaxy Tigers, Nanashi, and Nancy. All of those with either cross. However, you can't make the advanced Nanashi or advanced black Galaxy Tigers or anything like that without having the serrata gene. The serrata gene is going to add on more dots on the face, as well as that back line, and then that blue pigmentation usually doesn't come without adding that serrata gene into the mix. So you can also have the orange-eyed Nanansi and Nanashi and whatnot. I'm just going to call them Nanashi. That's my favorite term. So from now on, that's what I'm going to do instead of all of them. But the orange-eyed lapis and everything that's basically new in the orange-eyed world is going to be a mosh pit of the two different types of Caridina tigers, and then as well as like Taiwan bees and crystal shrimp and stuff like that. So
Mimic said my tap water is about as close to RO water as you could hope for. 6.5 pH, 0 KH, 0 to 1 GH, and TDS. Adding equilibrium to get my GH to 7 brings my TDS to 230. I thought that was a question.
So I would still like just get a cheap RO unit, because we were talking with somebody last week and their TDS was like 110 and they had 0 KH and 0 GH in their water. And if that's the case, like what is that total dissolved solids really being made out of? I'm not sure if it's sulfur, if it's potassium or sulfate, or I'm not really sure. I'm not a chemist, but in a perfect world and breeding shrimp and stuff like that, I wouldn't risk having that. And if your RO water or your tap water is that close to RO water, think about all the money you're going to save in filters, because the higher TDS your tap water is, the more frequently you're going to have to replace your filters. So if you have 0 KH, great, but I would still get out the general minerals in your water, any copper, anything like that.
Said I accidentally hit the send button. I meant to ask how to handle that to keep my TDS lower.
I would invest. You can get. I'm not sure like the price of an RO buddy. Like, do you want to pull that up, like an RO buddy online, and I'll just talk about it, since I pretty much ran out of most of the stuff to talk about this topic tonight. So questions, please hit me. But basically, if you're in the shrimp game already and you've bought in 10 shrimp, chances are you're $40 into it. So I see our buddies right now on Chewy for $70. And everything's gone up a little bit in price, but like you used to be able to find these for $50 if you look hard enough on Amazon. These RO filters are not going to work for everybody. We're sharing it now. They can see their screen. All right. So this guy right here is not a 5-stage. I believe it's a little 3-stage filter. It's going to handle like in total dissolved solids up to like 100 to 110, might be pushing it. But basically, it's going to filter out 90% of all the minerals out of your water. So we have, and maybe it's higher than 90%, but basically the quality of your filters and stuff like that averages is 90% of all of your filters will get, all your tap water will get filtered out. So if you're at 90 total dissolved solids or 60 total dissolved solids and use a cheap one like this, you're going to be down to like 6, maybe 7 total dissolved solids. And chances are that's going to remove out your, impurities that you don't want in your shrimp tank. You might be left with a little bit, but generally speaking, anything under 8 TDS, I feel like is safe coming out of our system. Once it creeps to 8 total dissolved solids, we replace our sediment filter. If it's still over 8 TDS, then we replace our post-carbon or pre-carbon at the same time. Remember to flush after you replace these filters. And then if it's still continue to be high, then we replace the membrane. But generally speaking, we replace our membrane about once every 6 months, maybe 9 months. Our TDS comes out the tap at 170, and we use a 5-stage with a DI setup at the end to make it a 7-stage system, basically. So you can get away with, a cheap RO buddy, but you can also get any 5-stage, basically RO filter that has a pre-carbon, a post-carbon, a sediment filter, and a membrane, and it's going to take care of everything for you. So a lot of them will have double up on the carbon. So anything else that I left out?
Yeah, sorry. No. Sorry. Fancy red tigers that are three fancy red tigers that are buried up, and I have seen others before buried, but no babies can be found. pH is at 6.0, TDS 150, GH at 4. Should I be changing anything to help the baby survival?
All right, so there's a couple things that I'd be worried about. One is how often are you doing water changes? And then the other thing is, like, you could possibly have babies in the aquarium. They're just super hard to find. I generally don't worry about babies after 2 weeks after a female releasing them. They're just smaller. If your eyesight's not the greatest, it's really hard to see them between the little nooks and crannies and the moss and stuff like that. So I don't really usually worry for the first 2 weeks. Then after that, you should start seeing them on the walls and come out to eat food and stuff like that. And then the next thing is, a lot of first-time moms just suck at being mothers, and they'll drop the eggs, and the eggs are really good food for other shrimp, and they get eaten fast, and you don't even notice it. They molt, and the eggs come off, and the first thing they eat off the molt are the eggs. So you've got that possibility. And then the other thing is, if you're not doing your water changes, then your babies might not be getting the food sloshed around. The not RO water, the biofilm and stuff like that isn't plentiful enough to the tank for them to get food for that first molt.
And do you think that GH is too high for fancy red tigers?
GH, if anything, is a little low. I prefer a GH of 5. So even if you had to get your TDS up to 160 to get a 5 GH, I would do that. What minerals are you using, though, to get that?
Sterling Aquashop says, why haven't people made orange-eyed German pintos or orange-eyed fancy tigers?
So the reason why, I think, is the white gene, as everybody likes to call it. The white pigmentation is just so hard, and I don't think that a lot of the shrimp breeders out there are patient. And when they hear that somebody else is having more success using the tangerine tiger gene, and it's showing up with the white with the blue steels, and then from there they're able to breed out the orange-eyed blue steels with white and other shrimp. I just think that it takes more work, and people aren't as patient as they need to be in the hobby to make that work. I'm not saying maybe there is some out there, but for the most part, to get that solid white pigmentation and those stripes, maybe somebody just needs another 2 years before they're finished with it. So I think it'll be a thing in the future.
Brandon said, do you think the chlorine filter with the RODI system is necessary?
No, I don't think the chlorine is needed, because the carbon in the RO system is going to take out the chlorine already.
Living Dream Aquatics said, I know you said you got new pump for water changes. What pump did you go with?
We got the Siche Ultra Zero pump. It's got a lot of head height. It's not super powerful. It's enough power that I'm able to fill up the tanks fast enough that I don't get bored. I can split it between 2 tanks, and then it also doesn't create a huge mess if I do anything wrong and slip a fitting or something like that. So it is the perfect all-around water change pump. We're quite happy with it. I want another one.
Mimic says, So you consider a TDS of 230 to be too high for Caridina, as in definitely worth buying an RO unit, buddy, to fix it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's too high, but like there's other breeders out there. I know Nico Rico in France keeps some of his Caridina at 230 to 280 TDS, but I think the GH is also like higher in that. I'm saying I think the RO buddy is worth buying because I don't know what your other total dissolved solids are made up of. Those could be giving you algae issues. They could be giving you molting and gill breathing issues. I just don't know what's in those minerals, basically, that isn't general minerals or carbon harness, I'm not a chemist. I'm sorry.
Shady Grady says 10%. He does 10% water changes 5 days and use salty brand GH plus minerals. That was what he gets to get those parameters.
Are you using the salty shrimp or there's two different kinds, and I forget the other one.
I'm assuming because this is salty.
Yeah, but there's another salty brand, and it looks like it's the premium brand of salty shrimp. And I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of breeders out there that use it. Man, I can't remember what the name of it is now. I don't know. I'll talk about it one day, but it's not the Glass Garden brand. And a lot of people think it's the same brand and it's the premium version. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's just sold like that. And I don't like the ratios that
salty
it produces.
Shrimp GH plus.
Okay. So, yeah, you could maybe like just sprinkle in a little bit more salt and you get your mineral GH content up to 5.
Nathan says, I need a pump to speed up water changes, but seems silly when the biggest tank is only 55 gallons, which that's our biggest tank in the house. We don't have anything above 55 gallons in the house, but
not
it
anymore.
Just saves you some time. Yeah, no, and probably won't ever again. I'm already like questioning the tanks that we have now, so whether we should just move them.
See, I told you shouldn't have an RO unit.
Yeah, I was wrong. So
I was listening. I was like, no, she mixes her tap water in here and then takes out the chlorine.
I was distracted by the beautiful fish, okay? Brandon said, are you guys working on any new crosses / patterns? Any exclusive TGOE shrimp in the making?
I'm always working on the new thing, and I don't know if the new thing is achievable. Basically, like if you're looking for new TGOE exclusive lines that are coming out, I'm really happy with the super white crystals, which are basically a full ghost bee, head to toe solid white, no ghosts basically involved. With some work and dedication, I think those would look way nicer than pure white lines. So that's like my end goal with that. I'll probably be able to sell some of those at the beginning of next year. Our orange-eyed yellow tigers, which are like basically the only other thing that I wanted to talk about on this list. I don't know of anybody else that's really working on them. They would be something I'm probably not going to let go next year even. I really want to like work on that line, make some greens out of those, and then Shelby's going to steal some of the orange rusty looking ones and start off on her own thing too. So I don't like going over and selling like the projects. I get messages all the time. They're projects for myself, and I basically sell everything else to like fund my projects. And then we have all sorts of different crossbreeding of the orange eyes in the works, just trying to make anything that's not out there. We have some some yellow King Kongs with black markings we're working on. The greens just had not recently, but like 3 weeks ago, a batch of babies that are maybe 10 of them now have potential of being really nice and green. So Had to take the hooker moss off the website because the only moss that was really doing good in that tank is the only tank that has hooker moss left is that tank, and I don't want to sell any green babies. So if you did get hooker moss off of me shipped out today, please check it for green babies. I tried my best, but if you got one, I'll send you some coals. You can work on the project.
Yeah. I'm still working on my pintos. I'm actually trying to work on more dots on the head, but I really, really like the pink coloration that has been coming out on some of them, as in they're deep red, and then their back line has a very beautiful pink coloration to them. So that is what I'm working on. I just happened to get it from like a breeder that their name is Flowers, which is awesome. So just like kind of thinking about like sakura blossom flowers on a shrimp is what I'm trying to achieve on my zebra pintos.
And then I also have my orange-eyed hollow eye crosses that I would like to work with and separate those out, and as well as my hollow-eyed black ghosts. Those are both tanks that need to be culled out and moved around and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a lot more projects going around in the house that all of my purple tigers are probably going to be ready and available soon. We'll have normal tigers available soon. And when I say purple tigers, it's not like purple like Vibes Aquatics mug ray. Oh, you're probably not going to be able to see that. It's horrible purple. I'm sorry. Horrible example. Beautiful purple. It's not really easy to see. But yeah, it's more maroonish than purplish. I don't know. But those are all projects in the works. Then Ethan said salty bee and salty shrimp. So yeah, basically when salty bee came out, a lot of the breeders and sellers were marketing it as the higher premium salty shrimp, and that it was like the same thing, just the higher premium. I'm not sure if salty bee is cheaper or what, but I never fell for it. I never switched. So
Gina said a universal carbon block should also pull chlorine from the tap water. We have chloramine in ours, and that's what we sell at my work for it. Sterling Auto Shop said to start from scratch with tangerine tigers or green tigers and shadow pandas, how many generations would it take to get galaxies?
I would say in a perfect world, you could do it in 8 generations. I know we did it in 10 generations, but like you have to know what you're selective breeding for. I kind of knew what to look for already when we were selective breeding and doing the fancy tigers and the pintos and steels and stuff like that. So you really got to selective breed and get the orange pigmentation out of there and the double pigment from the shadow pandas as fast as possible. So I would crossbreed back with the shadow pandas after the first generation.
And then to follow up that question says, and then how many additional generations from the galaxies would it take to get boas?
In a perfect world, I would say like 5. So technically, for it to be a Galaxy Pinto, it would have to have more than 9 stripes. So after 4 or 5 generations, I've seen examples of Jacob Waters, his Galaxy Pintos looking similar to Shelby's, and then I think in 2 or 3 years' work, he had international quality Galaxy Pintos, or boas, I should say.
You really just got to work on it for sure. Get that culling, and you need to cull all the way down. Don't leave one ugly one, because that one ugly one is going to breed.
And the problem is I get stuck with like that ugly one that just has like that pizzazz that nobody else has, and you're like, I could possibly pass that down and make like a Galaxy that has a trait that nothing else has. So that's why I'd say, like, in a perfect world, you could do it in 8, but like you get caught up on some ugly ducklings with no potential in the end.
I think you already answered this, but Shady says I have B shrimp mineral GH plus also. Is that better remineralizer? I think you already said that you don't.
Yeah, I would like the salty shrimps. It's the reason why we sell them. I basically tried everything on the market, and the salty shrimp was the most bang for your buck. And if it's not broken, why fix it? So we used that religiously. We just did all of these aquariums behind us. I don't know if we look a little bit crisper tonight, but Shelby wanted to make sure all the tanks were nice and clean now that we have the 1080p live streaming and upgraded on the StreamYard. We've been meaning to do it forever. We just forget. We remember when we see us all pixelated.
It's not much better.
It's
honestly not worth the money. I don't know if anyone else has changed their YouTube to high streaming HD, but I don't know if it was worth it that much. It also might be like this weird ambient glow that we're getting from the LED lights around us instead of, I don't know. Or it might also be our laptop.
$200 later, we might get better picture.
Maybe. Might be a whole $1,000 for a new laptop. That's what I'm thinking.
Just get a camera that's.
Oh yeah, like the old-fashioned one. You clamp it.
Webcam it.
Yeah. Nathan says, yeah, but y'all have hundreds of tanks. The time is money. I have 8 tanks and I have long as it takes. Don't get me wrong, I want one, but still not a priority. You know, if you could do those 8 tanks faster, you most likely would want to get more tanks and be able to maintenance more.
And not just that, but the more time you're going to spend maintaining your aquariums and the more buckets you have to lift and stuff like that, the sooner you're going to get out of the hobby. So if you really love what you're doing and you don't want to get injured or something happen and you just simply can't keep up with doing things, taking those small investments, like it's only $100 pump, maybe $110 with shipping or something like that. But at the end of the day, it makes our life a lot easier.
Aqua Garden Zen said, what is the best grading system? Is there a book? ?
No, there's no real book that I can refer you to. There's no excellent charts. What I would do is look up the shrimp that you're interested in looking on grading, hit up Google, hit up Facebook, and search it out, and try and put together as many images from as many different sources, and you will come up with your own grading system. Basically, it's all opinionated. Everybody's got their own judgmental opinion, and because of that, that's why we have as many judges as we can for competitions. One judge might score at a 9.3, the other judge might score at a 5.4, and then the next shrimp, those same judges reverse scores on a different shrimp. So you live and you learn, and there's no perfect system out there. One time, the Shrimp King, Chris Lukop, was talking about gathering a council of all the greatest shrimp breeders from across all the lands and getting us together and setting the standards. And that was back when Shrimp King was actually run by him, and now he's doing something totally different. So I don't know if that'll ever happen, but there's not enough time in the day for us to sit down and make our own charts. I would love us out there who have offered to help me out. My issue is just taking the time and sitting down and doing the photography and putting together videos and stuff like that for each individual shrimp. It'll happen though.
Yeah, it just will be when we slow down maybe a little bit, maybe. And Annette said, Lady Diane said, I can put you in high definition here, and it is better. So at least it improved a little bit. But Stephen P. could help us too, optimize and get things better because he's tried it this way as well. So that I would appreciate that. I'll definitely be in touch. I got a couple other things that I need help with too.
Steven's got all the tricks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm quickly finding out about Steven is if there's a shortcut, he's found it.
That's a good thing. And let me click over here so I can get this on time this time.
I don't know if that's credited to Steven or Jenna.
Well, it's Stephen P. in chat, so.
Well, maybe Jenna taught him the way.
All right.
Jenna's the one that hits us up and does all of Matt's work. So I got a feeling.
It says,
Does Matt even do
what
anything
do you
for the
expect
fish
me to
family?
do? Take the long way, is what he said. All right, so it is time. On time. Let's go.
Hey everyone. What's up,
How's
Grant
it
and Chuck?
going, man?
Oh, it's going good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing all right, considering you're able to make it this week.
Yep.
Missed you last week, but I kind of like this rotation, making sure that you're at least here every other week. So
Yeah, I can definitely be here every other week. I'm gonna try to squeeze in more as I can, but
and then I don't know if you heard last week I announced when we're not having a Crypt Keeper question of the week, I will be selecting one of the comments from one of our subscribers, and my favorite comment of the week will receive a Sam Scales print, and I will announce that next week at the top of the hour. So I do have two right now that are in the running. Sadly, Matt's is one of them. So somebody please make a better comment so Matt doesn't win. But hit me with your question this week, Tim.
okay. So to get a double pigmentation on a hybrid, you normally cross a Thai bee back with a Taiwan bee. But if we wanted to get like a double pigmentation from a pure tiger cross, is that possible?
Like crossbreeding back a Caridina, like orange eye blue tiger, back with one another to make a double pigment, or are you still crossing
Like if
with a Taiwan bee?
No, like if you had a serrata crossed with a Mariae and then cross that hybrid back with a serrata or back with a Mariae, would it do anything cool with the patterning at all? Or
Basically, the only reason why you would really cross back to either one of these traits would be for the orange eye. So for the Caridina serrata, the dots on the head, the orange that you get from the tangerine tigers, and the back lines, those are all going to be imprinted in the genetics from the very first cross. The orange eye, the recessive genes from the Caridina Mariae, those would also be imprinted on the very first cross, but you could lose it after the first cross, where it's really going to get back in the genetics. And I'm not saying that it'd be impossible for it to show back up and become a thing in the future, but it's going to be more and more likely every generation that you go down the line. The chances are it's not going to pop up. So that's why I highly recommend, if you want orange eyes, that you cross back with the Caridina Mariae. So, like the best example that I can think of with your question would be like, let's make a orange-eyed tangerine tiger. You'd want to cross back maybe with the orange-eyed blue tiger, just so you get the orange eyes on the tangerine tiger fast enough, and the tangerine tiger orange genetics itself is going to be so hard to get rid of that I think that I would do the cross back with that end
okay,
goal in mind.
okay, so it's basically just the eyes and super recessive genes that would be affected.
Yeah, I other than the eyes, I can't think of anything else that I would cross back. Maybe like in the future, and I refine my purple tigers a little bit more, and you want to try and make that purple coloration pop out on something else on the tangerine side, and maybe a backline purple tiger or something like that. But at the moment, the orange eyes is the only reason.
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, no problem. And we'll see you in 2 weeks then, huh?
All right, sounds
All right.
good.
Have a good night.
You too.
So, this week has been a little jam-packed. I believe that's all for tonight's topic. I think I fit it all in. I talked about the orange-eyed yellow tigers, or no? All right. So the only other thing that I would talk about is, let's say if you wanted to make some yellow tigers without the orange eyes, I would use the super tigers, cross them with the yellow King Kongs, you would be using the serrata and the Caridina Mariae tiger strains together. But I would use the super tigers over all the other tigers to achieve this, because the yellow tigers, the yellow King Kongs and the super tigers will also have the yellow pigmentation. So you got any questions for me, or should we talk about our jam-packed week that we just had?
No questions. I think about just about the week now.
All right.
I think we answered all of the questions.
If you got
I
any
missed one,
questions
so sorry.
now, you can hit us, whether it's on topic, off topic, whatever you got. But please, let's save ice cream questions for like the last 15 minutes.
Don't even bring up ice cream. Easy V Rider said, I would love to see a live stream about competition breeding and grading for Neos and Caridina. I'm interested in competition breeding for both and know you have some good experience. That'd be a great video instead of a live stream.
Well, you're in luck because we have both a video and a live stream already done on that topic. So you might have to go into the archives just a wee bit, since we do be doing a stream every week and posting videos maybe every month, maybe. We're working on that, though. The next video will be coming out quite soon. It is the project that I'll be working on tomorrow, actually. I might finish up this rack just so I don't get all over the place. But yeah, so by the end of this week, Jaden's room will be finished up, and we'll be cranking out normal videos. But we have done both videos for judging and going over the scorecards and stuff like that for Aquashella, as well as videos of the shrimp contest themselves. And then Crypt Keeper has also done a very nice video of the not the past shrimp contest, but the one before that.
Robert says, what do you think I would get out of crossing a Snow White with a Missouri red wine?
So that is how you make Michelins. So Snow White is a crystal shrimp. A Missouri red wine is a Taiwan B. As long as it's not actual like a pinto coal or anything like that, then you will get Michelins. If it is a pinto coal, then you're going to get Thai Bs. Michelin is just a crystal shrimp that has the Taiwan B gene. So if you cross two Michelins together, you'll get 25% just crystal shrimp. They won't have any Taiwan B gene. You'll get 50% Michelins, and then you'll get 25% Taiwan Bs. So you'll get a mix of red wines, black King Kongs, and blue bolts, possibly red bolts.
Coro said, Shelby, did you answer my question whether you're planning on stocking mangroves? No, I must have missed the question altogether. I wish we could stock mangroves. I have not had any available to us.
No, I could get
we have our own,
from the nursery. We could get the little sticks, but like I've never been successful with those. Mark, if you're listening, my buddy Mark has a great source for mangroves. They're just like super hard to ship just because how big they are. Maybe if we have room and somebody wants them, we can bring up one or two to the Keystone Clash. But like, I doubt I'll have room. Like that's going to be really hard to pack.
Pushing it.
We already got 2 booths worth of stuff that we planned on bringing. Mangroves would look so nice, though.
Abstract says, what's up with the geckos? You really like our geckos. We have not moved them. They're still in their tanks in the room. We still have the one stand to put up. We still got to figure out how to mount the TV before we even do anything with the geckos. But I will be doing a natural aquarium for them eventually.
I've thought about maybe instead of doing Jaden's room with the axolotls, doing the geckos on the floor.
Maybe.
I don't know if Shelby's resonated with that, but it's kind of what I'm aiming for with that room. The cave would just make more sense with the leopard gecko.
Yeah. That'd be cool. We'll see. Brandon said you should put a mangrove in the Opa'ula tank and get then get into saltwater. I've already been speaking to Gina this past weekend about saltwater and eventually getting into it, but we have to have a special place for it. We really don't have anywhere right now.
I would like to do a lot of stuff in an Opaula tank, but right now there's some macroalgae. But we do have a mangrove tree out in the hot tub. How's that?
He said, yeah. Got a question. Does Barry Manilow know you raid his wardrobe? I don't get that at all. I don't think Barry Manilow would wear a shirt that says no.
He's
I don't
talking
eat
to
them.
me?
I don't.
I think he
maybe.
was talking to me.
I don't. I don't know. I don't even know what he wears.
So back to our week. We drove up as a family to Missouri. We went to St. Louis and spoke for the Missouri Aquarium
It's a
Society.
Breakfast Club reference, which I don't think either one of us have watched the Breakfast Club movie, so we're not good with that one.
I've been meaning
That's a
to
prime
do
time
it since I was a
aquatics joke.
kid and in acting and stuff like that, and it's just never been like something that I've gotten around to watching.
Yeah,
So
that one wasn't interesting to me.
So we drove up Wednesday. It was a 15-hour drive. Drive up there was real smooth. Little traffic here and there, but other than that, no problems. We got up there late enough in the day that there wasn't really anything we could do. But we met our good friend Josh and his daughter at the Missouri Zoo. Highly recommend it if you're anywhere in the area. I'd probably drive 4 hours just to go to that zoo. Maybe you drive further than that, but definitely worth the drive for 4 hours. And we've been to quite a few zoos, a lot of zoos, like just recently. Like I'm not gonna name them, not gonna throw any stones or anything like that, but as a keeper of animals and stuff like that, you just your stomach sinks when you look at some of these poor conditions of some of these animals and stuff like that. And I didn't really see any of that at the Missouri Zoo. I will say there was 4 gorillas and they only showed us 1. So maybe the other 3 were acting a little grumpy and sad in the back and they were hiding them. But like all the big cats and stuff like that, they didn't look like they were miserable and just, wanted somebody to come in there and murk them. So I was quite happy with the overall zoo. Nice and shaded, plenty of little things to do with the kids and stuff like that. But overall, I enjoyed the exhibits, the reptile room. There's some aquariums throughout it here and there, the hellbenders and stuff like that. It was really great. I was like, whoa, there's a lot of dead fish in this one tank. And then I was like, oh, that's hellbender food. Silly me.
Nebish says, I'm wanting to cross extreme blue bolts with tangerine tigers. From what you were saying earlier, the cross back with the extreme blue bolts, we are heading towards pintos, then into galaxy pintos? Question mark.
So you wouldn't really get pintos. You would just basically dive right into galaxy pintos, whether you'd have culls of galaxy pintos or not. But you're going to end up with a ton of red steels with that cross originally. So even back crossing with the extreme blue bolts, you're going to have to get over that tangerine tiger genetic just popping out a ton of red steels from that cross. So it'll be a lot of culling and a lot of selective breeding until you can get to galaxy pintos. But with that cross, that's all you need. It'll just take you like 8 to 10 generations.
Crypt Keeper says, how many fish tanks does Shelby have total now? What's the next she plans to get? So I don't know how many tanks I have because I just keep getting fish. I just brought home quite a bit of fish from that last meeting. When you travel to these meetings, you get to see fish you don't ever see at your meetings. So I came home with some lovely largest wild betta fish, which is insane for me when I don't have large tanks. So they are in a 20-gallon for now as babies, and I'll have to split them up, and the pairs will have to have like 20-gallon tanks, and working on maybe 30s for them or something. We got to see something. We do have 30s in the garage ready to go. I might just want to just recycle those and get them softer. But that's what I just did get is a really cool wild beta that is the largest. I can't remember the scientific name right now. I also did get some amazing Vienna guppies from.
No, save that.
Oh,
Save that.
Too late. I already said it.
You could have stopped and
Amazing.
everything would have been fine
Sorry.
with the betas.
You were too slow. I'm sorry.
Anyways, back to the zoo. The zoo is great. Had tigers, had lions, elephants, bears. The ice cream wasn't the best to me. Shelby said the cookie dough was an 8, but
So
to me
good.
it was just like tasted just like the ice cream you can get at the stores in larger containers in bulk. So nothing really special. Ate it before it melted, so it was all good. You want to read this one?
Sterling Aqua Shop said, "When do you think the purple tigers will be available for sale?"
Before December. So I'm not quite sure an exact date, but I would like to say I have enough that I can split into one of these other aquariums here. As long as they take and there isn't no issues, I'd like somebody else to get one of the other groups.
Big Shrimpin says, "Shelby, will you have any of those tequila G'dayids at the Clash? Do you still have them?" I do have 3 tanks of them still. I might have some available. I unfortunately left a female in the tank and she dropped her babies and while I was gone like an idiot. So I don't know right now with having the fish room being built. I wanted to have a tank for them to go into and split them up. But I might have some. I would just message it or email us right before the event, and I could probably bring a trio for specific. If someone really needs them, I could probably take a few trios out of there. I got quite a bit. I'm being greedy. I love them too much. They're really cool to look at, and they're slow growers, so you can keep them in a 10-gallon tank for a while. So. Aaron says, "Have you ever bred orange-eyed blue bolts for Missouri?"
So not really, and technically they would be orange-eyed blue steels, not orange-eyed blue bolts. A lot of them do just have coverage on the head and like clear bodies or white bodies, so I don't have to really breed for it. Eventually, I would like solid extreme blue bolts, and then to me, a solid blue steel is a blue head with snowflake dots on it, and then a nice solid white body. So that's what I'll breed for. I've got 2 tanks. If you actually go back and watch our last video that we just posted, I go over both of those tanks in that video, so you can see the differences on what I'm working on.
Easy V Rider said, "What might a cross between orange-eyed blue tigers and PRLs make?"
So those make Tybes, the very first cross. But if you select to breed those Tybes, you can make some fancy tigers. You could also try and select to breed the orange-eyed ones and maybe make some orange-eyed fancy tigers. But I'd say that's like 15 generations of hard work, and like the normal turnaround for generations is like 3 a year. If you're lucky, I don't get too down on myself if I don't do 2 generations a year, or if I only do 2.
Nevich said, "That is the answer I was looking for. When doing a cross like that, I'm going to use a male extreme blue bolt and a female tangerine tiger. For one male, how many females would you start with, or just merge 2 colonies?"
Never merge 2 colonies. That is extremely hard to figure out what crossed, how many generations you're in, and stuff like that. I would use one. I would do this. I would do 3 males and no more than 3 males in the tank, and then as many females as you can get. You want at least 1 to 2, 1 to 3 ratio. What I really don't worry about too much is the ratio. What I worry about is when you have like more than 5 fully grown males and a female goes into she's saddled and ready to go, and there's no other females in there. All 5 of those males are going to harass her at the very same time. And if there's more males, they're all going to harass her. And, not all of them know when to stop. So you could stress out a female and kill it. So I just recommend keeping like 3 males in the tank, no more than 5.
Vibes Aquatics coming in with a $1.09 super chat. Says cross bacon, cream cheese, grill with shrimp.
I'm not a big fan with cream cheese and shrimp.
I probably would like it that way, honestly. I don't like the texture of shrimp. I don't understand how people like that. That chewy texture, rubber texture, chewing on a tire.
I'm not a big cream cheese guy unless it's with a ton of sugar. So you're gonna put seafood in it. I don't think that's for me, Vibes.
Thank you, Vibes.
I appreciate it.
Sterling Aqua Shop said, "Is there a wait list for the Purple Tigers? I would love to be on it."
I would take pre-orders for the Purple Tigers if I could gauge how much I wanted to sell them for. So if you're interested in them, you can email me, and then I could try and figure out what I want to charge. Because I don't like to charge an extreme amount of money for something that isn't, I don't know, pristine and high quality and the newest thing out there. But I've been doing a lot of work on these things, and I don't want to just let them go for nothing either. So I got to figure out. They'll probably be around $15 a shrimp.
And then, why is it showing up on my phone? Oh, here we go. Nebish with the $4.99 super chat with a 1 with balloons. Celebrate your first. Oh, it's our first chat from you. Thank you so much. That's what I was like. What's going on here? It's my first birthday. Smash cake. Where is it? Thank you so much, Nebish.
Oh, appreciate that. Oh, and by the way, a little trick out there, while we're here, we like to give you as much information as we possibly can. If you have a kid that has a birthday and you go to Publix, they don't need to know what birthday it is for your kid. Just tell them they're turning 1 and you get a free smash cake.
Yeah, every time.
I'm not saying I do that, but
sounds like you do that. That's so funny. It says thank you. I'm sure to be hitting you up on Facebook for more information. He loves talking about it, so it's always a great thing.
And
Let's
make sure
continue
you
with
me
our
for more Publix hacks.
What?
What?
Public what?
Publix hacks.
Publix hacks.
Yeah.
It did not come out Publix hacks.
I don't know if you heard, Shelby, but everybody else heard. Knows
a lot
exactly
of people don't
what I was
have
talking
Publix
about.
that are watching.
Everybody
us.
knows what Publix is, and they're all
So they're gonna have
envious
to go
of our
all the way to Florida
subs.
for it. Goodness
I think there's
gracious.
also Publix in like other states now too. Like they're making their way up into the north. The South will conquer the North through Publix subs.
All right,
one way
let's
or
get back
another.
to our weekend since I caught up in chat.
Weekend. We're still in the week. We
Yeah.
haven't even made it to the end.
Okay. Good.
So the zoo, it was great. Got to see a lot of stuff. Highly recommended it. Then we went and had food after I shaved the beard off, of course. It had some nice tacos, and
so
that's
good.
when we were
So good.
reacquainted with the lovely Lady Diane. And then we went and I had my talk at the Massey Club. We had a lot of pre-orders for the Massey Club. Really appreciated that. They didn't have like an auction afterwards or anything like that a lot of the other clubs do, but they really engaged with the pre-orders with their sellers, so that made up for it. And the talk, I think, went off really well. I don't like to toot my own horn or brag too much, but I just felt comfortable up there since I had just done the talk the month before for Gold Coast, and then the month before that for the Lancaster Aquarium Society. But then on top of that, the lovely Miss Shelby went through and totally pimped out my slideshow.
It kind of did look like Pimp My Ride.
Yeah, it was before there was just a picture of like a bazillion yellow Neos
Which
that
I
just
did
kind of
already,
was like
okay.
on the screen forever. Because everybody does the intro, everybody pulls up the slideshow early, and it's just sitting there. Well, Shelby did some animations, so there was 4 different slides of different shrimp walking around. So it was really great. And then on top of that, She edited and did like little pop outs of other shrimp and made sure that the other sides of the house and stuff like that made it in there and were all updated. So I did not have the time to get that done, and somehow she found out how to do it. So big props to Shelby and anybody else that has a club. And like Alishon, you want us to come speak for the Bucks County Aquarium Society. Like, that's your cup. I'm sorry. I didn't drink out of it. Came close. Almost got your lipstick on my mouth. Maybe I did. I don't know. But anyways.
Abstract, it's always cheesecake for both of us. I don't even need to let Grant answer that question.
You're wrong.
Pie.
Pie?
You
I
like
freaking
pie
love
over,
pie.
He definitely eats cheesecake more than pie,
I definitely love cheesecake more, but like,
right. So get out of here.
It comes down to flavors, though. If you really want to boil it out, because there's some flavors of cheesecake where I'm like, nah, I'd rather have some strawberry rhubarb pie. If you throw some strawberry rhubarb pie with some like really good Papa Clyde's ice cream on top of that, you got yourself a good hard tie with just about anything that's not white chocolate raspberry cheesecake. I'm just saying, it's like close. That's a hard choice.
If you make the pumpkin pie, I like the way it's made.
Pumpkin pie is great. I'll eat pumpkin pie for breakfast in a week or so. It's that time of the year.
It is that time of the year. At least you like spooky season a little early, just with pumpkin pie. At least I'm full spooky season ready.
I had a pumpkin donut yesterday.
Yeah, he's more.
That thing was fresh off the press. Girl. It was like the first one of the season. I knew it.
I think he got more excited for pumpkin than anyone I've seen. So.
Just like pumpkin pie. I mean, something's happened where I'm not a fan of whipped cream no more, but I'll eat a whole pumpkin pie still.
Cody says, do either of you two bake? Favorite baked good or pastry? I do bake, and I really like to make the pavlova, but I really don't like it that much like everyone else does. I think it's really great, but like that's my number one baking item that everyone wants to eat when I make it. So
they call me the cookie monster for the stuff that I bake, but
that's not appropriate here. But other than that, I mean, everything's good baked, honestly.
Shelby makes some really good cookies. I just forget that they're in the oven, and then I smell it, and then I run for it.
I don't really like sweets, so you're talking to the wrong person. He's the sweet. I would take a baked potato over like brownies any day, which is weird to people, but I don't really care for sweet, like the starchy carbs.
But then after the talk, had a nice little chat with Jeremy, Lady Diane, and Gina outside. It's kind of like one of the after Aquashellas or Keystone Clash, Triple Crown little lounge areas where we just talk until someone taps out and they're like, oh yeah, it's probably time to call it a night. Definitely probably kept Lady Diane up a little bit too late that night, but we went back to the hotel. Lady Diane, though, this is where she started pampering us. Like, I haven't been spoiled like this from we haven't been spoiled like this from anybody in a very long time. So Shelby spoils me all the time, but like us as a family haven't been spoiled like this. And so that night, Lady Diane started cooking us some stuffed French toast, and not stuffed French toast, some thick French toast, blueberry thick French toast. Yeah. I might have that right now.
Blueberry French toast.
And she prepped that the night before. And then we were having brunch at her house the next day. We showed up. Now, she had every single type of cheese that I could name, and then 15 varieties of those different cheeses, and they just kept coming. I don't eat cheese cold, so I'm like, oh my god, I hope I already knew the blueberry French toast was sitting there, so I was like, I hope she just didn't get all this cheese for me, and I feel obligated to eat it. Luckily enough, my two kids, they got all the cheese eating genes from Shelby, and they devoured all of it. And then there was lunch meats, and the lunch meats were on point, but like really the star of the show, she made this egg, ham, and Parmesan cheese peekaboo eggs Very unexpected how much
So
flavor it
good.
had. It was delicious. The French toast on top of that. I have a sweet problem. If you guys didn't hear, I'm fighting diabetes all the time. Don't have diabetes, but it knocks on the door
Might.
constantly, and I
He
have to
might.
kick it off the property a lot. So,
No, he might.
according to a dog at the Aqua
You
Expo in
definitely
North
might.
Carolina, I might have
He
diabetes.
eats a whole bag of gummy worms. We have to have an intervention at the next fish show. Please help me.
Said reinforcements. But yeah, I have to have something sweet after every meal, or else the hunger just does not stop. So I went back for a second plate of French toast, and yeah, from drinks to she had this lychee nectar sitting on the thing that I was like, oh my god, where did you get this from? And she's like, oh, Costco. I'm like, we just don't have Costco in our area. And she's like, well, you're going home with it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna say no, but like this is way too much. You're doing way too much for us with all this food.
Spoiled.
On top of that, we got to see our lovely fish room, all the angels, Corey's. She had some shrimp, of course, in the room, and then some little oddballs. I thought they were bettas, but they were grammies. Sorry, they just look like Shelby's bettas that are grammies, but what are they? One day they're bettas, the next day they're gram. No, yeah, they're sparkling grammies.
Yeah.
Almost said croaking grammies. She told us a story about how then I got the hiccups thinking about Lady Diane's food. That's what it is.
She made so much food too. Like I could have stayed there a few days and just devoured it.
There wasn't much left. There really wasn't.
Yeah, we did eat a lot.
And so the other oddballs, some oddball rainbows and stuff like that, but the angel fish were like,
stunning.
She was telling me how she wants Richard Reynolds angels and he wants her angels, and I'm like, I want both your angels. I just don't have room for these. I know Jaden wanted them. She even had an albino out of her blue angels that Shelby wants, and
Jaden got freaked out by it.
Lady Diane's like, I'm not selling this for anything cheaper than $250. I'm like, I don't blame you. Like, I wouldn't sell it. I would breed that with the next project and then get those. Like, I would be greedy with it. I would be like $5,000, and then just not expect anybody to offer me $5,000 for it. So
it was so funny. Jaden loves angelfish, and he was looking, and Lady Diane said to look for the one that's different than the rest, and Jaden goes, "What's wrong with that?" And he's never seen an albino angelfish yet. It was so funny, and he was just like, "Its eyes, it's freaky," and he just like walked away. I was like, I think that's the coolest one.
And then she had a little patio porch pond set up with two different ponds, one with some blue guppies, and then some Vienna guppies in the other one, which Shelby had already mentioned that she got some of those.
If you haven't seen those, you're missing out on life.
And then I took home some of the orange Venezuelan Corys. I'm going to get those up a little bit bigger in size so I can add them into the discus tank. I think that tank is just missing a little bit of action on the bottom, and that thing will
clean up crew.
Honestly, great show tank
for someone who overfeeds.
Yeah,
especially them. Those fish always look hungry. Bigger fish look hungry all the time. Angelfish, they will get you every time you walk by the tank. They look hungry.
Your big killies over there are sitting on a pile of food.
I think they save it because it's all gone in the morning.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest thing ever. They slowly eat it.
There's a ton of snails underneath the substrate that come out at night.
Maybe.
So after we were done bagging up some fish, I feel like I'm forgetting another fish that we grabbed or got. No, just those two and the three. Okay, that was it. And then she took us on a hike along the Missouri River. I caught what I think are two invasive carp, but then Sam Scales never got back to me on whether it was. He sent me the scientific name, so I guess if I just wanted to do a little research, I could find out what it was, but I'm lazy. I use Sam as my research information site. And then a bunch of shiners. At least I'm assuming they're shiners. I still haven't looked those up yet. But then I do know we found a bluegill. Like 100% that maybe it was a sunfish though, and I'm wrong, but like I'm thinking I'm right on that. It was a bluegill, and it was a great. It was
Bluegill is a
exactly what we were
sunfish.
looking for. Walking through the woods of Missouri, got to see some of the cottonwood trees that are like the largest trees I've
so
probably ever
huge.
seen. Maybe I've seen some larger trees out in the Rockies, but I like didn't realize it when we were out there. But when we were hiking and looking around, and then I'm looking up and I'm looking up and I'm looking up, and I'm like, the tree's still going up. It's quite impressive. I know it's not redwood impressive, but in Florida, like our tallest trees are like 80 foot tall or something like that. The cypress tree is like only 80 foot. I can't remember. Your phone's dead.
Yeah.
So really great experience. There was like this little creek that we started walking on that led into the bigger opening to the Missouri River, Blackwater River, basically like the Mississippi, but
Blood River.
yeah, it was just beautiful, and it's different. We had the kids with us, and I really want to show the kids all the different habitat and as much different locations across the United States as we can. And Jaden's like little Mac Miller. Every day is the best day ever. Everything's the most beautiful place he's ever been to. And like Lady Diane spoiled and pampered him. I don't think he wanted to leave.
No.
For
Could have
sure.
stayed there forever.
He was just all nothing but compliments to Lady Diane before we left in the kitchen. I was like, I raised him right. He says everything that I
Especially if you have ice
so.
cream for him, he's head over heels for you.
But yeah, it just nice little bridge, beautiful little creek and river. And then from there, she took us to her farm, where we got to pick pears. Pears, not my favorite fruit, but it's definitely on the top list. I couldn't tell you how high up there it is, but I probably eat more pears than any other fruit just because like they're good out of a can still. And then I put peanut butter in it. It's weird, but like the can told me to do it one time, and since then it's been delicious. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to some pears and peanut butter once they ripen. But we got us a whole big old bag full. And after the pear picking, she showed us her horse. I'm not sure if that was a miniature horse or just the smallest horse possible without being a miniature. I don't want to say like
so cute.
Yeah, it was a small horse. It was adorable. And after that, she took us back to her house because she had 6 gallons or 6 different tubs of ice cream. So definitely had the mint chocolate chip. It was nice and refreshing. Also forgot to mention, Gina showed up, joined us for the fish room tour, and then of course the walk up to the Missouri River, picking the pears, the horse, and then back to the house for ice cream. And I really felt bad because we had worn Lady Diane out by that point. With the hike and everything like that, I feel honored because she's like, that is the last time I'm ever doing that. So I'm happy that she was able to give us the tour. That it was literally right by her farmhouse. So like that was like one of the best probably little experiences that we could have had in Missouri. We wanted to go spend some time in South Missouri and explore around some of the creeks and rivers and stuff like that. And with timing and everything, it just didn't work out. So we got to do everything we wanted to do that day with Lady Diane. And I was thinking that we were just gonna, go hang out at her farm. I didn't know that she had like that adventure trip with the hike and everything like that. So
awesome.
I forgot to mention that Lady Diane also started spoiling us by taking us to Jilly's Cupcakes before the meeting and got me ice cream. Right. I got a whole pint of.
We were spoiled.
It's not Hummingbird. It's something else. Bee Sting ice cream. It's white chocolate with white cake pieces, and I don't know. I was sold after like vanilla ice cream. It was so good. Not vanilla ice cream, lemon ice cream. It was so good. The cupcake that I got from that flavor too was delicious. And then on top of all of that, Kids got cupcakes. Shelby got cupcakes. We got home with cupcakes.
Crazy.
I still had 2 of the cupcakes today. They're delicious.
So-
But yeah, she spoiled us above and beyond. I even forgot that she had saved an entire tub from a live stream that we had talked about in like the beginning of the year, if not last year, when we were talking about the obsidian. And so she had some of the largest pieces of obsidian ever. She let Shelby pick out her
Look at
piece.
this beautiful piece.
Some of her pieces of obsidian had fossils like moss or other leaf imprints on them. Definitely like really interesting. She didn't even know the fossils were there, and I'm just looking. I gotta look at every little bit and nook and cranny on all the rocks to see if there's something like some texture or something that's really gonna stick out at me and say skate me. You know what I mean? So found the fossils basically just being stingy on the rocks.
Mimic Nature, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. And since you're new here, if you email us at the Garden of Eater, I will put that down in the comments below.
The Garden of Eater at gmail.com. Send us your name and address, and we'll ship you out your exclusive TGOE membership sticker. It's holographic. It's the only way to achieve this. And then on top of that, we are. I think it's safe to announce that we have something for you guys. So let's start making it a habit. I know some people have already in like the last 2 live streams maybe done their members only chat, but if you have been a member with us for over 12 months, just simply send a chat. Let us know that you've been a member for that long, and then email us at the very same time, and we will put you on a sheet of paper, and you will get a 20% off discount code for being a member for 1 year, as well as a exclusive Sam Scales print. And it's one of our shrimp that nobody else in the world has. So the only way to get it is being a supporter of ours for 12 months. We've tried to think of something better than that. Haven't come up with anything. If you got one of our keychains, that was our first attempt, and we're like, this is not good enough. Like we're expecting like a 2-inch chain like link that you could attach to your keys, but it was like the actual loop and like keychain and the little dangly between the two that was part of the 2 inches. So fool me once, no, I ain't getting fooled twice. So we definitely are going to be better off with the Sam Scales prints.
Gina says, so you guys coming back in May for the spring trip? I want to so bad.
I don't know
nice.
what that is.
My trip I'm planning right now. We're doing it. Look, Zen Ginger already whooped and stuff. 15 months. Thank you and Jeff and a couple others are in that 15 month, which is crazy. That is the exact like as long as we've been going, I believe.
So I'm gonna take a picture
So
so I remember. It's got my mouth in it. That's weird. Anyways, there's something else. I would really like to do a talk again in Colorado. So I'm going to hit up my connections in Colorado. And then I think what we'll do is on the way up or on the way down, stop in Missouri and hang out with you guys again and go see some of the southern streams. The stream that Lady Diane took us to is absolutely gorgeous. Had a little like blue water area where the water got deep and stuff like that. But like I hear in southern Missouri, it's just crystal clear creeks and stuff like that we want to go out there and explore.
So Alashon said, pressure Kelly and Scotty to invite you guys. Since it's a short ride to our meeting center, I'll probably stay awake. He said probably though. Can't guarantee it. If I was talking though, maybe he'd stay awake. It's just your motto.
If you had updated the slides for the Amish firehouse presentation, then maybe Alashon would have been like, oh, I wonder how she did that, rather than
Mimic says, how many tanks would you suggest needing when trying to develop a new line? That was the wrong question to ask someone with 300 tanks. As in, do you expect pleasant surprises from your culls, or do you just need to keep the best together and keep going?
So I kind of like talked about this, right? Is like when breeding from point A to point B, every now and then you're going to get this oddball that I just want to do something with and try. Sometimes it leads to nothing. Sometimes you get like a cool little offside project, you know? But for the most part, if I wanted to develop a new line, I would at least need 3 tanks myself. However, the thing is the more tanks, the more directions you can go. It's like more lottery tickets. Playing shrimp to me is like having little tiny lottery tickets. You're not gonna win big, but you might get that scratch off that's like, oh, you're gonna win $50 every week for the rest of your life because you unlocks a different mutation, a different color, a different type of shrimp that you can breed out and sell, and you could make a good little name and line off of that, and at least 3 tanks. But the more you play with, the more lottery tickets you have.
Crypt Keeper asks, are there ever times where you uncull a shrimp, like remove offspring from a cull tank and put it into higher grade colony?
I've made this like one of my rules that I don't like to do, but like this is why I have multiple tanks, because every now and then a cull tank will spin off into its own colony of aquariums itself. So I have had cull tanks turn into entire runoff tanks of their own. So the orange-eyed yellow King Kongs is a good example of that.
I will say there's a lot of times.
Not the orange-eyed yellow King Kongs. I'm sorry, the orange-eyed yellow tigers. Back to you, Sean.
I know that sometimes we have culled shrimp that don't look so good in one aquarium. Put them in a tank, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, why? Why did you change color? And now you look incredible. So sometimes stress can make a shrimp look terrible, and then you put them in another tank and they look better. They do better in that tank for some reason. So it can happen. Usually we don't ever put them back though. No, we just usually work it from that tank. So, but Scuba Seed said, Shelby, Shelby, the scape contest, you got to go mediocre on us, okay? Okay, I'll try.
I'd be very disappointed if you don't win.
It was see what I have to deal with though? Like, I don't even know if I'll be welcomed back into my own
I wasn't
home.
invited. I didn't get a message by somebody that doesn't like to smush snails and offered a chance at doing it. But Shelby was, you gotta defend the title. Someone from TGOE won it last year. Someone from TGOE should win it this year.
It's so much pressure. It actually was funny. The last contest I did, a lot of people were like, oh, be careful of her. And I'm like, for what? Like, I've literally not won that many contests. And like the ones I've won are just like, and no competition on that one.
You're on a roll. You've won 2 in a row now. So like, come on, you got to keep the streak
that just
going,
means
Shelby.
It's going to burn and crash. Oh, man. I wish Lady Diane would go to the Keystone Clash if I could pick you up and take you with us. If you ever get a chance to meet her, you have to.
I mean, so Gina, I think he was just crying. Get a bigger van, get Lady Diane in it, and then...
Thank you, Gina.
I'll take care of the rest.
That's so funny. Says, I'm crying, love y'all, don't ever change. You're too sweet.
Well, Jaden was also very upset when we made it like into the Georgia line, and he realized he left that tank back at your house. So we might have to come back soon to go get that tank.
He was legit crying.
He's so upset. He found like a really nice, like I couldn't tell you if it's from like Halo or Call of Duty or what, but this thing is like a futuristic army tank. And he found it, or Layla found it buried in the mud, and we cleaned it all up at Lady Diane's house. And then forgot to grab it after it was done drying.
Jeff Kane, member for 15 months, says thank you, Grant and Shelby. The print is perfect.
Oh, my man, Jeff Kane. He is, Jeff, you're in like everybody's YouTubes and showing a ton of
So much
support. Zen Ginger as well. Both of you, like, we see you in just about every chat. I might not always say hi because a lot of times I'm like driving or my hands are wet, but I'm usually lurking in a lot more streams than people think.
Yeah. Crypt Keeper, 14 months and 30 days. So, but yeah, I think we remember that something happened with your membership. Don't forget about that. You didn't take a picture of that one. He didn't use his chat. He just doesn't have the chat because you can only use it on a month, I believe.
No, you get it. He
but he's been a year.
I know Crypt Keeper is one. I don't have to save Crypt Keeper.
I do. Night Out. I really want to see that rainbow obsidian. It's so funny because I had talked about obsidian like 6 times, and I kid you not, for some reason this rock name will not stay or stick in my mind. So when Lady Diane was like, "Oh, remember that rock you were talking about?" I was like, "No idea." And I literally before the live stream couldn't think of it, and I was hoping Grant said it. And you did. I was so happy because I already forgot it.
Like 3
times.
Yes,
because I have black onyx.
That's what the stone name.
That's all I've been talking about because I couldn't find it when I was doing something, and I got really pissed off about it because I bought it specifically for a reason and couldn't find it. I was so mad, but I did finally find it. It's in the weirdest spot in the garage. What? Made amazing wind chimes. I hate wind chimes. I can't stand them. Hopefully that one doesn't sound so clingy. Do you ever let a tank go wild for a while just to see what color is stronger? I mean, if you're talking about Neo Caridina, I have a Skittles tank that I have, but that's because there's fish in there.
Even the Caridina. The Caridina Cull or Skittles tanks that we want to call them. Usually, over time, you can see the orange is almost always stronger. If there's no orange into the equation, a lot of times the red will overpower the black. The black is dominant, so if you have a line where you don't add in the reds and stuff like that, you'll get mostly all black shrimp.
Gina says that Diane can sit up front and just throw Nathan in the back. At least strap him in so he doesn't get crushed by all the stuff you're bringing. I'm excited. I'm excited to see all this stuff.
Oh, you don't have to mail it, Lady Diane. Just give it to Gina and she'll drive
it's
it up.
still soaking. Yeah, that thing was filled with so much mud. We would have took it home. I just can't believe we forgot it.
And I was so mad that the detour around Atlanta made us miss both the Buc-ee's on the way home. So
yeah. But we'll get you Buc-ee's before
on the way up to the Keystone Clash. We definitely passed the Buc-ee's. So
yeah, we'll be getting those. Yeah, I don't know what it is. We're taking almost the exact route. There must be just one slight difference for some reason.
We would have gone through Atlanta at rush hour, and I was looking at that at the time where we were driving in because it would have been like 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever when we would have been driving through Atlanta, and it probably would have been an extra 2-hour drive if we had gone that direction.
Hi, Dee Dee. Brandon says, I just thought of a name that you can name the white strain coming from the ghost bees. They should be called Caspers. It's a good one.
It's not a bad name at all.
Yeah.
My extreme Casper crystals.
Well, at least acupuncture helped you. Since I've been in bed since they left. I'm so
Super
sorry.
Casper crystals. What did Lady Diane say? I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out that name still.
Been in bed since they left. Acupuncture today helped.
I hope it was worth it. I mean, I feel like it's just little old us, but you went over and beyond. It was
way beyond.
And I told her, I was like, you're only the second person to give us brunch, but it was funny because Brandon also, or not brunch, but cook for us on the way to a fish event or something like that. And I was like, Brandon, his fish room was also in the basement. So, it seems to be a trend if you got a basement and you want to cook for us.
Vibes with another $1.99 super chat says thumbs up, y'all. Love y'all. Thank you so much, Vibes. Thanks for hanging in with us.
Are you going to make it to the Keystone Clash? Are we going to be seeing you in this next month here? I think it's only 5 weeks away till the Keystone Clash.
I really want that low boy, but I just really cannot realistically find a spot for it. I've been looking since I've been home.
If you're bringing us a low boy,
it's
there's
for
no
sale.
room. I don't.
No, it's not us.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just for sale. I really want one, and I just don't know where to put it. Yeah, Bucky's right off 75. See, there was 2 of them on the way up. They always have signs. You could always find Bucky's. I don't know what it was about the path we took back home. We did not see it. I was so aggravated. Diego said, where can I acquire quality shrimp from this side of the continent? I already forgot where he's from. I said it in the beginning of the chat. Yeah, remind me where you're from.
If you can remind us.
So I already forgot. Terrible. We like fish because I have a memory of a fish.
But then after ice cream at Lady Diane's house,
it was so worth it.
We joined Gina at a Thai food restaurant. Every single place we go to get Thai food has been delicious. And they're all like slightly different. And I got a chicken rama, which is like peanut sauce and chicken, rice, and some veggies. It was the thickest peanut sauce I've ever had. It was so good. It's just slightly different than everywhere I've had. I'm not saying it's the best, but like they're all like they got something good about them all. I want to take the best quality of all of them and put them together, and that'll be my Thai food one day.
Gina got to watch how stupid I could be and struggle because each restaurant you go to, their level of spice is different. So I was like, oh yeah, medium's fine here. No problem. Like that's what I get everywhere else, and it doesn't have enough spice. I usually want to add more, and I get it, and it was burning my mouth. My face was probably red as a beet, and I was dying. And I'm like asking the person, like, what do you have to drink? And they don't have sweet tea up there. That's all I drink. Every restaurant that I go to, I get sweet tea here. So I'm like up there, and they're like, I am dying at this point, and they're trying to explain to me that they have unsweet tea that you can sugar, and it's like it's not the same because it won't melt. I'm like struggling. I'm like, what do you have? Then I'm dying, and I had to drink Sprite. It was terrible, but oh man, I struggle when it comes to spice. I should choose wisely.
But then she doesn't like it though if she doesn't cry like 6 minutes into it. I swear,
it's true.
If she's
it's not
in
as
pain
good.
And crying and talking about how hot and spicy it is, she's talking about how not hot and spicy it is.
That's true. That's true. Aquarius came across 30-gallon low boys. What? I didn't even think they existed anymore. That's what we could use in Jaden's room.
If you could send me the measurements to your 30-gallon low boy.
Can't find those. Where did he find
it doesn't matter. If you can find it, I'm sure somebody out there can also help us locate it and find one. But I believe the measurements are still not good enough.
I legit almost started crying too. Because one of like the last bites that I took probably had like 6 chili peppers just in a bunch. It was awful. See, Thai tea is too sweet. I can't. It's almost like drinking a.
I had a mango Thai tea. It was
oh my goodness!
Is that what I had?
No, you had a mango boba.
It was a mango
like a
boba Thai
smoothie.
tea. It was a Thai tea though.
Oh.
It was mango. It was delicious.
That's too sweet.
I tried to get the lychee. They didn't have the lychee.
And that one, it's a competition restaurant for you. Oh man, that makes sense.
That's why she's like level 2.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, when she said it, I was like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like medium heat. That sounds like it. Let's take it up a notch. Oh man, but yeah, I thought I could handle it. It was pretty funny. I will tough it out. My dad does the same thing. It's even funnier.
And I was thrown off that they had chicken tikka masala and Indian food there, but that's all I wanted. And now like that, I'm like, I should have got that.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to get the pho, but I didn't. Zen Ginger said, boba, there shouldn't be lumpy stuff in drinks. It's icky.
I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I prefer like the mango popping little balls that are, I don't know, gelatinated or whatever to make little
we have
fruit
little
coat.
fruit ones, and then you get the boba one, which is that tapioca.
Level 25, Shelby, your skin would melt
all the way
off.
to level 25. That was pretty bad. Yeah.
Shivers down my spine.
Yeah, I love tapioca, but I typically get the little fruit ones. They're good. But yeah, that was probably the best amount of food I've ever gotten. I've gone some trips that I didn't eat at all. Like, I got so sick from some of the places we ate. Oh man. Vibes Aquatic said $1.99 super chat again, coming in with the dough like always. Maybe come to Clash if trip paid.
If what?
We're already coming to the Clash.
I don't know.
Or you may be coming to the Clash if trip paid. We hope to see you there. That would be awesome.
Coming up close, man. Stop giving us all these super chats and save up your money so you can make it. I'd rather see you there in person.
Yes. We were computing. It takes a second. We were just like AOL dial-up at the time. You know, it takes a second. Okay. And Misa says ZoomEd is coming out with a 28-gallon lowboy. Same footprint as the 40 breeder, but I think 10 inches tall. Say it at Findig this year, but not sure when it will be released. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. We got to get that done before then, so it's going to have to come out. Welcome in the fish room.
So then we drove back home after dinner with Gina and her fiance, and then we that's when it got rough. The trip got rough. We started switching on and off like every hour and a half, every 45 minutes to make sure that no swerving or anything like that happened on the road home.
I think it was like 10:30 at night that we left. So, an all-night drive, which we have been practicing for a little bit, going to the Everglades and staying up all night. I was like, oh, maybe we can. And then, I started driving, and I don't do well at night because I have stigmatism, so those lights bother my eyes. So after an hour, I was like, it was an hour and a half drive the first time, and I'm like, Grant, this is not going to go good. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be an hour tops every time I drive.
The problem was there wasn't any ponds with gators that we could jump into really quick and get the adrenaline rush going and get back to driving. That really helps in the Everglades. You get tired, just pull over the road, jump in the water, and try and get out before something gets you. That's how we wake ourselves up in Florida.
Oh,
I don't know what you guys do.
Lady Diane said, "I'm shocked you didn't stop to sleep." We're lucky right now that we can still do this. Where we're going 100 miles an hour.
We were determined to make it to the Reptile Expo the following day on Sunday, but then the guy that watches our house, it was his birthday, and he invited us to go hiking at the preserves. So we're like, that sounds nice too. So we went ahead and did that. So my knees were hurting today a little bit, but
he's a little worn now. It's catching up to him after all the stuff we've done.
My neck is fried. It's like purple. It's so red. And
it's bad. That was our lovely missing the Missouri weather that we had and experienced because it was 80 degrees, which is like AC to us. Came back here and went on a 3-mile walk, and it was a scorching 90. It had to be
98 on the pavement, if not hotter.
It was pretty bad. So it was, the kids were struggling where we did the zoo all day, no problem. Besides Layla, who made me carrier. Mimic says, are you all sure to be at Aquashella Daytona in November? Yes, we are. We run the shrimp competition, and then we have a booth as well. So we are there, and Daytona is the closest one to our house. So.
And we're also qualified for the Aquascape contest.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a whole lot going on. And I have to defend my belt at the Aquascape contest on the main stage. Might be against Shelby. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So don't, if we don't respond to you while we're aquascaping, just try to catch us at the booth because then we'll be able to talk, no problem. Sometimes we get too busy and don't be discouraged by that. You can always decide to hang out with us afterwards, meet up with us, things like that if we're available. But oh no, Lefty won't be able to go. Got it. At least you got a new job. Congratulations.
Will you be at the
It's a
Clash
sweet,
though? Isn't the
sour
Clash
moment.
not that far away from you? Hopefully you'll be at the Clash.
Lady Dan said, "Wow, what a week." Yep.
It was
Thanks
a
to
great
you,
week.
it was perfect. Thank you.
It really was. You went above and beyond. You couldn't ask for anything else.
Night Owl says, I really want to go to the Clash. Don't know if my van will make it. Might have to hitchhike from North Carolina. You'll probably find a lot of truckers that could take you. But
Would've been
hopefully
nice.
you can make it.
It would have been nice if those angelfish eggs were there when we were there, but it decided to wait for us to leave to have the eggs at Lady Diane's house.
Lefty said that he will be at the Clash. Already told work to be off that Friday. And Shady says you have a great location at the Clash. Yes, we made sure to pay for that one.
Yeah,
We like to make a presence, and
not only that, but our booth should be closer to wherever they're keeping the ice cream for me.
Oh man, I wish we could come back. If we were closer, we would be back a lot more. Especially just to go visit the zoo too. Just to have a good full day at the zoo, come have dinner with you. Be perfect.
All right, we got one last question here.
This question, unrelated, but do you know how breeders get backline crystals? I saw someone get them from a Pinto/Red Galaxy fishbone, snowflake, and a fancy tiger with on F1, but not sure if Michelin's.
So technically, if it has a backline, it's no longer a crystal shrimp, and it is just if it has the backline, it has tiger genes, so it's not a pure crystal. So it's a tie bead. If you buy our black tie beads off of our website, they do have the backline because it is a mixture of tangerine tiger genes and stuff like that. So you can get some backline crystal looking shrimp out of those, but you'll never have backline crystal shrimp.
All right.
Just cross crystals with tangerine tigers, though. Selective breed the orange out, and that's how you can make them from scratch. Anything else?
No.
Nope, that'll be it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Until next time.
Thank you so much.